It's time to get your checking account to zero with free checking from PenFed. That's zero ATM fees, zero balance requirements, and zero time spent waiting for your paycheck to direct deposit because you can receive it up to 2 days early. Open your account with just $25 and see how big zero can be. Apply online today at PenFed.org/free checking. Early direct deposit eligibility may vary between pay periods and timing of payers' funding. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.
PenFed's got great rates for everyone.
What is up, everyone? I'm Jeff Lund, and this is the Mediocre Alaskan podcast, where we are intolerant of weak-minded attitudes that keep people from pursuing new and exciting things in the areas of fitness, outdoors, and general lifestyle. Second episode of 2019 here. I've been a little bit off with my travels to Tucson, and my girlfriend was visiting from Laramie, and so at kind of the point of the podcast today is to talk about my ineptitude as an outdoorsman. So my girlfriend was up here for Laramie, Wyoming for over 2 weeks, and we went steelhead fishing, we went crabbing, we went ocean fishing, and we did not catch one steelhead. All the crab we trapped were males, but they were below the width requirement, the size requirement for keepers. And I was trying to go to just some basic spots to drop down to some herring and just try to get any sort of rockfish. And we caught exactly one. So I was thinking back to my fall and late summer and just how frustratingly non-productive it was. After I got a deer on the 4th of August, I saw a few bucks a couple weeks later, but outside of that, I did not see anything. And it's been well documented in previous unsuccessful podcasts about how poor my hunting season was. Spent a lot of time out there, and it was not successful. And then steelhead season starts, and I haven't caught a steelhead either, or even a trout. So it got me thinking about these streaks, and my girlfriend's been up here twice now, and she hasn't, outside of, trapping some crab and then getting that one little rockfish, hasn't been much success. So there's this pressure on myself, that I put on myself in order to be successful, because I live in Alaska, and I want to be a good Alaskan, and I moved here to do stuff outside. And I had goals of living off deer and fish and being as self-sufficient as possible, knowing that, at some degree I'm going to have to subscribe to basic consumerism when it comes to goods and whatnot. But I had goals and I did not achieve it whatsoever. And it's totally different when you consider someone else. So without sounding too toxically masculine or too traditionally masculine, as a boyfriend, I want to be able to provide and at least a spot where we can catch some fish. So I was a little disappointed in that happening, but as I wrote a blog post for Caffeine and Kilos that's going to be published. There's a point to which it's important to not go over the top and start to equate outdoor success with self-esteem and that sort of validation, because then you run the risk of not being able to get it enough. There has to be some sort of, your self-confidence has to come from yourself to some degree, and you can't get too high, too full of yourself, or too low yourself. Because I think that's when sometimes things get so frustrating that you start to quit. And one of the main reasons I started the podcast again was to talk about what it is to be just an ordinary type person and going through real struggles. A lot of times you hear about people who are experts and they say, oh, you persevere and and things weren't good, but then you power through that. I feel like I'm in the middle of, or even the beginning still, of a lot of that early struggling when you're trying to figure stuff out. So I wanted to kind of get a voice for that. If you want to listen to experts, you talk to Steve Rinella, or you listen to Steve Rinella on the Meat Eater podcast. If you want the expert Central Alaska Doll sheep, then you listen to Tyler Friel of the Tundra Talk. If you want ordinary guy, then that's kind of me. That's definitely is me. And it's tough. I wanted to be able to provide the best possible experience for Abby, and I'm glad that I didn't get caught so much up in just the results, because then I would have missed out on the fact that she was visiting. If you have friends that are coming up or a girlfriend, it's about the whole thing. It can't just be about fish. Some of the best guides that I know that I've either been with or hang out with, they're the ones that tell people to just kind of take a look and look at this experience. You're out here, you're whale watching, you're doing this, and that's not in place of the experience of catching fish. They'll put you on fish, but also remind you of where you're at, what you get to experience. That people don't get to do this. The percentage of the population that gets to experience Alaska and gets to catch king salmon and gets to or catch steelhead or get a bear or get a deer, that's not a large part of the population. Part of the population thinks that it's that's an archaic thing that you shouldn't do anymore, that it's no longer socially acceptable. You have part of the population who would love to but doesn't get to. So even the guides, the experts who bring people back to the whole experience, some guides are totally caught up in just getting the biggest bear, the biggest deer, and touting themselves because they equate their self-worth or their self-esteem to that. And those are the guides that I kind of know some of them, but a lot of the guides I know they're good dudes. They appreciate everything about the experience, and though I'm not a guide, you kind of play one to a degree when friends are coming up, or you're the most experienced one. If you happen to be the most experienced fisherman or hunter out of the group, and you're kind of taking the lead on the buddies hunt, then you kind of want the spot that you choose to be fruitful, because you're the one that made that call, and everybody's luck might be dependent upon how good that spot is. But there's a lot of variables that go into it. I guess the winter fishing for rockfish is pretty tough. The bait's different. Do they go deep? Do they go where inland further, or not inland, of course, but away from more of the open waters? So the spots where I picked up a lot of rockfish trolling for silvers or kings during July and August, they are not good for rockfish right now for whatever reason. Who knows where they go? Didn't know that before. Figured that rockfish would just kind of live where rockfish live and live there the year round, but they don't. So I'm learning about that. But it was beautiful out there, and it was calm and it was nice. But you want to be successful. There's only so many times that you can use those lines or write that column or speak that podcast about how it's the experience and it's not about the result, because I can't lie, the result is definitely a part of it, and it can be definitely hit on the self-esteem if you don't accomplish what you're going after. You feel that you've put in enough time and effort. You feel that you should get results. You feel if you do things right, then it should work. It doesn't even have to be just with outdoors. It could be with anything. I've been at this job for years. Like, when is my job when is my boss gonna notice me? When are my colleagues gonna notice me? I've been trying to get this PR on my clean and jerk for a long time, and it's not happening. Why is it not happening? I feel like I'm doing everything right. I feel like putting in the hours. Why am I not getting that result? Trying to lose weight, trying to gain weight. I'm trying to put on 15 pounds of muscle. It's not happening in the way that I think it should be happening, or as fast as I should. I'm trying to lose weight. It's not happening. I'm being unsuccessful. And I think in the resolution year right now, it's new, and you want to feel better, but it takes some time.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
And you have to endure those plateaus. You have to endure those dry spells. You have to endure those times when things aren't working the way that you want them to, and that's, man, it's tough. But there's also that perspective. You got to look at what's important, and the fact that your life can be so easy that you can be worrying about things like PRs or catching steelhead when other people are just worrying about getting their needs met. So there's that perspective, and then B, also the environment that you're around when you're trying that out. You know, on a flat, calm Alaskan ocean during the winter, you got snow-capped mountains around you, and you got whales that are coming up out of the water, and you're just flat, calm in a 15-foot skiff. That's hard to beat that. There was a point when we were letting the crab pot soak a little bit more that I just turned off the engine and we didn't even drift. It was that glassy in this inlet that she fished, and I sat and cut some apples and some cheese and had them on crack. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So if you get too caught up in the results, then you can lose track of what's going on around you, and then how nice it is that the biggest thing in your life right now is whether or not you make this lift, whether or not you catch a fish, whether or not you get a deer. So while none of us want to learn lessons or be humbled, we only get that depth to our character when we go through difficult things and learn those lessons. And we have to learn the lessons because we get opportunities to learn lessons, but we don't always learn from them. When I was covering college basketball for the newspaper at the University of Arizona, Lute Olson, after a loss, said, the only thing you learn from losing is how to lose. And that's kind of the... or there's also the other quote about, show me a person who's good with losing and I'll show you a loser. And there's some truth to that. If you never learn the lessons that you're supposed to learn, then you end up being the same. You could learn something from everything that goes poorly, but that doesn't mean that you will learn the lesson. You go through a bad experience, that doesn't mean that you're going to come out on the other end with any sort of perspective. That means you have the opportunity to, but you don't. So as difficult as it is to be positive in this dry spell, I haven't caught a fish or I haven't got a deer in 5 months. 5 months, it's the longest drought. It's so long. But gotta find the wherewithal to keep finding the good in things, and know that it's going to be fine, and know that you keep doing things right. You're going to persevere, and that's, again, it's a very trivial thing because I'm talking about a hunter who still gets to go out and hunt, and I'm still going to be able to go out and fish, and in the big scheme of things, all my needs are met, so it's a really small thing, but still got to be confident, still got to get out there. I certainly don't want to quit steelhead fishing. I certainly don't want to not hunt with my bow because I didn't get a deer. You got to push through those things, and it'll be worth it in the end, and I don't know when it's going to be redeemed, but I know that it's not just a matter of hours. The earth doesn't owe me anything. I'm not going to just get a deer because I didn't get one. When the season starts again, there's a chance that I could not get one again next year, which is crazy to think about, but that's definitely a possibility. So you got to stick with it. It's frustrating at times when you're learning something new and you're getting through that process, but there's good people who've gone through bad streaks too. People who are a lot better at me than hunting and fishing who've gone through dry spells. So just keeping that perspective is important. And if you do happen to have a New Year's resolution and things aren't going super well so far, or it's been difficult, well, it's kind of the point, you know? Like, you're doing something. If it was easy, you would have probably already done it before. So we're going to call that this episode. Make sure you check out the mediocrealaskan.com for the content and stuff. Again, article ideas or podcast ideas. People were asking about some of the New Year's resolution stuff, and so I was trying to hit a little bit of that, but everything else. Looking forward, you can follow me at Alaska Lund on Instagram or the Mediocre Alaskan on Instagram. And we will talk to you next time.